What's up, guys? Whew, I'm a little out of breath right now because I was just practicing some Kung Fu. And we have a kind of a strange video for you guys today. I'm going to be talking about some old school Kung Fu. And this is going to make it into my Kung Fu curriculum at teamthirdheaven.com. And so it's kind of cool. This will probably be my last kind of unique video like this for a while because I'm very, very focused on our Jiu-Jitsu curriculum. We've got a brand new Jiu-Jitsu curriculum coming out right now called First Wave Jiu-Jitsu. It's going to be like world changing. It's absolutely amazing. But something special happened this weekend. Well, first of all, it's cold here, man. This, for whatever reason, my front room's real cold. Well, I know the reason. It's cold outside and I didn't turn the heat on yet. So it's kind of chilly out there. So we're gonna film this in the back room. Well, my old Kung Fu teacher, the first Kung Fu teacher I ever had, Sifu Steve Kleppy, I saw a message on social media that he is retiring. Or maybe not retiring, might not be the right word, but it's semi-retirement, right? And geez, I don't know how old he is right now, but I don't want to try to take a guess. Maybe he sees this video. I don't want to offend him. I don't know, but he's a little, up there. And man, he has spent his life teaching traditional Kung Fu, and he is a Kung Fu master. And what I think is really cool about him is he's really stayed true to his tradition of traditional Chinese Kung Fu, ancient Chinese Kung Fu. And, I know that he's inspired a lot of people to become real, true martial artists. Now, I'm one of the people that he inspired. I trained with him a long time ago. I only trained with him for, I think, 3 years. I was very focused on jiu-jitsu back then. I'm still very focused on jiu-jitsu, but it was a really good experience for me. My martial arts school is under a little bit of construction right now, but hey, I went out to his place and I picked up a few weapons. I'm gonna show you guys this. So these are some weapons I picked up from his place. Some of these I picked up from him, like that one on top, Guandao on top there. I actually picked that one up like 20 plus years ago, 25 years ago. But this one right here, I picked that one up. This weapon here was one of his personal weapons, which is really cool. It's not a weapon I've been traditionally trained in, but I'm going to play around with it. But this is really special to me. The broadsword, this broadsword right here. Well, I'm going to turn it around with the camera face me on this one. So, all right, this broadsword here. We have some broadsword videos coming up in our Team Third Heaven series. So if you're part of the Kung Fu program on our Team Third Heaven online program, we've got some broadsword trainings coming up. It won't be in this video. But what's crazy is I learned a Hungar broadsword form. I think I learned a Shaolin broadsword form. I still have the Hungar broadsword form memorized. Then I learned broadsword versus spear. And then I learned left-handed broadsword. And then I never wanted to see this freaking sword again. But I'm pretty sure, almost positive, this is the exact sword that I learned broadsword on. So I bought that. That was pretty cool. So I'm doing something different with this video today. So, I remember a time back training with Sifu Kleppy, and I remember a day that I went in, middle of the afternoon. It was kind of open workout. He's always hitting the iron palm bag, right? And I don't even know if he knows this or if anybody knows this. I told my wife this, and she never even knew I did this, but I did iron palm training for about 3 years. Lived up here, lived out on a lake, and I'd wake up early in the morning. Every single morning, I'd hit the iron palm bag every morning in horse stance. Kind of a crazy time in my life. But most people know me. I spent a lot more time in jiu-jitsu and things like that. But there's something that we did back then. He was there hitting the iron palm bag every day, and I'd go in the afternoon, and sometimes we'd just kind of have like an open workout. And there's one day that him and I and one of the other students were working on a Kung Fu set, a form, okay? And it was a 2-person form. And I remember him saying, I'm trying to develop something. I'm trying to give back to Kung Fu right now. I'm trying to put something unique into the curriculum that's kind of ours. And I always thought that was kind of cool. I thought, well, hey, like I'm here at the beginning of kind of like a Kung Fu creation. I thought that was kind of neat back then as a kid. I think I was only like 17 years old at the time, but to me, it's still something I remember. I was like, I wonder if that ever made it into the curriculum. And what Sifu Kleppy doesn't know, and what a lot of other people don't know, is that there are forms that I made up based off of things I learned from him. And so these forms remind me about the Kung Fu training I did back in the day. And they have a lot of importance to me because when I got hurt really bad, and some of you guys know my stories that I have a head injury, did not happen in martial arts. It happened in, I was just ice fishing. I slipped on the ice. But Kung Fu forms were one of the only martial art things that I could do, and I started with internal forms, and I'm still really struggling with a lot of things, but the Kung Fu forms have been really good for my personal journey as a martial artist. So a lot of this is my personal journey. And so we have 2 short forms here that always remind me of Sifu Kleppy because they're based off of techniques that he showed me. They're based off of forms that he showed me. They're not traditional forms. They're original forms with our martial arts academy, but they have a lot of value. And I've actually been teaching these forms for like 25 years now, or 27 years. And so a lot of people have learned them. So with that amount of time passing, they've kind of become tradition to our martial arts academy. They're very short, but they've got some good applications. And I'm all about functional martial arts, so I think the applications are important. So here we go. Let's do these forms. So one thing about me as a teacher is I always show the applications of the forms before someone learns the form. I think that it's really important that you understand what each movement in a form is, and then after you learn the applications, learning them in a form will help you remember them your whole life. It will help be a way to exercise. It's also a way to help increase internal strength and energy in all of your techniques by using the forms. But learning the applications first immediately makes that form functional and helps you to understand, what the heck am I doing in this set anyways? So before I show the forms, let's see some applications. In this situation, if Becca, let's say I meet Becca's hand here, and I pull and punch and I go for the kick, boom. If she steps forward with her left leg as I'm pulling, from here, in this horse stance position, I can strike and make it a takedown. Now, the one thing about this one is, Becca, do you feel like getting taken down today? She said she doesn't care, but the honest truth is she doesn't want to get taken down, and I don't want to get taken down either. So let's watch a clip of two of my MMA fighters showing this takedown. Here we go.
When a ball, boom, 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 grab his hand, pull, boom, boom, boom. I want to step right through it. Boom, boom, boom. I'm on him. You get on him. Boom, boom.
So now on the form, you guys see we do a low tiger claw technique followed by a back fist. So if I'm here with Becca, if I throw a low strike and she blocks, I'm coming back up for my back fist. Now in the form that I just showed you guys, we're going here to here, and from there it's a pull and punch, which is representing this. If I come here and she gets that hand back up to block, it's now a pull and a punch. Now these forms are designed to be able to help you remember your martial art techniques. So therefore, if you want to add something to these, because these are not old traditional forms. Now the principles and the movements are based off of old traditional Kung Fu forms. But the way they're put together in this kind of shortened version, they're in newer forms just to help people remember techniques and to give people a good workout while they're doing them. So if you want to change the form to where you're coming here, and instead of that pull and punch at the end, maybe you're doing a trap and punch, that would represent, and now this time, let's say you don't bring that one up to block, and now we're just here, that might represent that one. So if you want to change those up a little bit, you can. Now pull and punch. Oh, that was good. Let's do that a few times. Okay, now for this technique, Becca is going to start with a left hand palm strike going to my ear. And when she does that, I'm going to block. So I'm going to have you swing almost like you're popping. Whoa, there we go. So I block that. So when I block that technique, she's going to take her left hand here and she's going to circle it to get to the inside line and then attack. Oh, with another palm strike. Perfect. Let's try it again. Whoa. Okay, let's try this side now, okay? Here. Now if I follow, go ahead, if I follow that and I have the block, now she's going to do a rolling back fist. And if I block this one, it's a pull, and then on this particular form, it's going to be a low palm strike. Good. So again. Start with a bow like this. Now I'm going to fade back to a defensive posture, and I'm going to start with a crescent kick. Ending with an elbow strike, and I'm going to open my elbows, and I'm going to bring my hands down now, and then come up for back fists, and then pull and punch. After the pull and punch, I'm going to come back to my stance, and that completes the first short form. Last form there, it reminds me a lot of training with my first Kung Fu teacher, Steve Kleppy, back in the day. At his martial arts school, it was called Shaolin boxing methods back then. Now that's not a form that he taught me, but it reminds me of that era. But this next section of the form reminds me of this much more, and it reminds me of Steve Kleppy more because it's all palm strikes. And again, every day that I came to Kung Fu class, he was always hitting the iron palm bag. And I saw him do some crazy things with like breaking bricks with his hands and stuff. And so this kind of really reminds me of him a lot. It starts the exact same way. You fade back to a defensive posture. Now from here, I start with a open palm strike, circling hand and hit. Open palm strike, circling hand and hit, followed by a rolling back fist, and then a pull and a palm strike. From there, I'm going to lead into a front kick. Now, I'm going to try a jumping front kick. I'm a little old to try a jumping front kick, but you can modify this for any student's ability. I have students that do this and then do like jumping spin kicks, right? But for me, I'm just going to do a little jumping front kick, try not to lose my balance. I pull back for a strike, I pull back for a strike, and then I'm in the defensive position. So that whole thing all at once. Again. Now we can put these two forms together, and we have many other forms like this that we can link together. Personally, I prefer these shorter forms. One thing you might notice is that I'm out of breath. The shorter forms create explosive power. They help you regulate your breathing, which I'm struggling with right now. And so there is a place for these shorter forms. It's also a lot easier for students to learn them and retain them. Also, when you think about traditional martial arts, I believe that what I'm doing with these forms are what forms were meant to be. So why did people learn forms? Well, people learn forms to pass their training down from generation to generation to generation. Some people created forms to hide their martial arts in almost like a dance, so that because in certain times in the world, martial arts were outlawed. Now that's not the case right now, so we don't need to do that, right? But it does help us to remember our techniques. It helps us to remember tradition, because I'm remembering where I learned the forms from, or where I learned the techniques of the forms from. And it helps with practical fighting application and to remember practical fighting application. So even though this is not a traditional form, it still has all the qualities of why traditional forms were ever even created. So let's run this together, see if we can do it. At a walkthrough pace, I start with a crescent kick, elbow strike, open the arms, low tiger claws, back fist, pull and punch. Fade back to my defensive position. Open palm strike, circling hand and palm strike. Open palm strike, circling hand and palm strike. Moving into a rolling back fist, pull and strike using the palm strike. From here, it's a kick, pull and strike, and back to my defensive position.